Welcome, viewers, to Poetryspective, online editions number 63. As you may have noticed, I am not your regular host, my dear sweet Elizabeth. Nay, I am but her humble husband, Paul. Wearing my hosting hat, I am happy to help here, beaming to you alive and direct-ish from the Dome of Skits, somewhere in the Kulin Nation's land of the Wurundjeri people. Respect to their elders and ancestors and descendants, and here's to hope that they get a proper treaty sometime soon. Also, many thanks to Pride of Our Footscray Community Bar for sponsoring the regular show. We've a stellar Poetryspective planned for you this evening. A fine feature from Yvette Stubbs and Katie Lohner performing Weird Al Jankovic. Plus, an open section to marvel at. We'll have Sean O'Callaghan, Angela Costi, Komninos Zervos, Anne Byrne, Tim Train, Kelly Van Nelson, and Colin Clark. So, without further ado, and as my man the Muppet Kermit the Frog would say, on with the show. Yay! Peace out.
Deep sciencey talk in a gentle British accent. Brian Cox from Things Can Only Get Better school of early 90s abandon spends a lot of time on TV. He's mostly background like The Simpsons or something being transformed into something else. A face, a house, a car, a person. The transformation age, nothing remains the same for long. And Brian Cox talks about expansion and eternity. Brian Cox gently smiles into the camera, standing on a giant satellite dish in the bush, Australia. Brian Cox gently proclaims, with a gobshite look of wonder, that maybe in a series of infinite infinities of ever-expanding universes and mathematics, our existence is inevitable. Brian Cox is now driving a car in Australia wearing big sunglasses. Brian Cox's hair is quite perfect. Then and there I felt a slight hatred for him, and began to consider if in fact the second bit of weed brownie was a mistake, and if the fear I felt in the present would in fact be shooed away by the brownie, or brought further on up the scales of immediate troubles. My brain had decided to fill my being with this another day of lockdown. The trouble with anxiety and modern life is quelling it is easy. Like with kittens on an Irish farm pre-1990, you can just drown it. But as was learned about drowning the kittens, you also learn drowning the anxiety comes with deep regret in the future. The eternal questions I have for Brian Cox is, what happened to the other members of the band D-Ream? Is that Neil deGrasse Tyson as much of a bollocks as he seems? Is Kichiakaku a Californian surf droid from an alternative universe? What's his opinion on opinions? What's Brian Cox's opinion on the opinion of those offering opinion on things they know nothing about? My opinion on such opinions become pre-pronounced with every YouTube clip watched. Inside every opinion there are an infinite universe of lies and truths of equal measure to reach the thought for that opinion. And that opinion is never the person's opinion that has that opinion. It is a subcat of a subcat of an echo of a subcat of an opinion that was formed by an opinion formed about that opinion, so far back as to be unrecognizable to the present opinion, that is uttered forth expressing itself through the medium of a meat sack, currently the residing place for the mechanism as yet indescribable that has brought forward this the now present opinion. Brian Cox's opinion on multiple universes were taken with a piece of salt, or is it grain of truth, salted with a piece of his.
We are the travellers of small steps, wearing pyjamas and slippers to greet each room as if it were a country encountered from a plane flight. Konnichiwa to the space called living. Hola to the island called kitchen. Ni hao to the mattress of pent-up dreams. In the study there is the desk holding geography's memory. Salve, Kalimera, take me with you. My mother will be lighting her candles on a bench top to create her church. My father will shuffle with his frame to the chair on the porch with the vista of his 12-year-old eyes diving for sea sponges from an unsteady pier. This space termed home is a document of journey, as we come to know the walls as trees we long to climb, the doors to close or open depending on altitude and inclement. The ceiling will seem higher than Everest. From the carpet we see the grit of hiking through jungle. And there, in the lonely corner, is the blue rug to sit on and breathe in the smell of the ocean calling its waves to sweep our dust. This woman talks to me with her hands. She always has, since birth. I have failed to grasp them. I followed the voices and text I found outside the home. Words on pages in whatever language, discipline or culture, bound by libraries. Left this woman to create her own story, with soil and seeds, flour and salt, a cloth, a needle, a pot, an oven. Her fingers are an alphabet I had no patience for. This is the woman who knows how to hold with her lined and stained hands the story of all those other women we service with a system of payouts. Those women of colour on the General Motors assembly line playing the conveyor belt like an instrument they will never learn. Those Hispanic women wearing the paper masks as they spray jeans and their lungs into shreds. And her fingers twitch when they tell of the Thomastown factory's sewing machine, stitch by never-ending stitch, bleeding before a stop for break, the dip and throb of migraine fighting quota. This is the woman silenced by statistics. We must search for her, not in photo albums nor newspapers. We must go out to the wild woods where there are trees left to grow old, like hunting for prized truffles. We must smell, touch, taste, and when we see her, hold out our hands as children willing to learn.
Black coffee nights all night, black coffee nicotine nights, nights of nicotine and black coffee toss and turn nights, caffeine nicotine bad dream nights, no sleep creased sheets nights, green leaf smoke heaps nights, throat sore nights, smoke more nights, sing blues nights, blues all night through nights, caffeine nicotine bad dream blue and green nights, colored neon night shines bright, neon light lights the night, the sky is bright with neon 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 neon, 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 and on and on and on and on into the night. The black coffee hard drug rock music night, beer swilled guts filled night, beer soaked cheap thrill night, loud noise night, girls boys night, streetwise night, red eyes night, the red yellow and flashing blue night, flashing blue light, the multicolored kaleidoscope night, cacophonic neon night, catatonic coffee night, black coffee night, black coffee nights, black
High Street Q East, where I live, it's a busy street. Cars, buses, trams, motorbikes, police cars, ambulances, fire engines, street sweepers, cars, 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 bikes, tataram, Across the road there is a park. It's lovely to look at over the sound of the cars, buses, bikes, police cars, fire engines, trams, bikes, cars, cars. The other night, all of a sudden at 8:58 p.m., suddenly, there was silence except for the sound of the park, a squeaky seat, a rocking swing, nighttime music, a certain peace, a hypnotizing regularity, sawing, car coming, bus, tram, bike, car, ambulance, police car, silence smashed. Ambulance, police car, ambulance, police car, ambulance, ambulance, ambulance.
Before you ask, when I was a young lad, I watched a lot of westerns. Plus, I forgot to shave. Plus, I may not have as many teeth as I used to have. Anyway, our next feature tonight, the retrospective feature, is Katie Lohner performing Weird Al Yankovic. I think Weird Al would appreciate me being like this and doing this right now, and I think Katie would too. And let's check it out, shall we? Ooh. Greetings, citizens, viewers. Now, before Katie goes through the Weird Alness, here's a poem by Katie. It's called Rat Bag. Trying to write a poem, but all I can hear is endless rustling coming from the kitchen cupboard. I can hear them creeping in one by one. We have been infiltrated. I can't deal with this now. I have to focus. Close the door on that problem. Deal with it later. No, all I can hear is endless rustling in my head. Whispering, giggling, leaves of consumer poo rotting. They nest and morph into the whole cupboard. I can hear them breathing heavy and deep. I can't let this go on any longer. Are they finished? No. Are they sweaty beasts in shopping centres individually wrapping tomatoes like they're moving house? No. Are they dust bunnies that gather and plot against the living? No. I'm putting a stop to this. I can do one thing, not bring them in. Can I clean up the mess I've made? The rustling builds louder. I try to barricade, trap and catch, but they keep forming endless rat baggery. Rat bag, rat bag, rat bag, rat bag, rat bag, rat bag. Rat or bag. Rat bag, rat bag, rat bag, rat bag, rat bag, rat bag. No rat, just bag. Plastic bags, rustling. Ah, it's rat bag here, sir. That's not possible, sir. I can't do that, sir. Everyone uses me, sir. We're spreading, sir. Me mate's gone to landfill, sir. I got a one-way ticket to Turtle Strangulation Bay. What can I do? The stench of overflow is eating up my cupboard, my kitchen, the world. Get your filthy hand off. You've been carrying my shit for too long. I want to speak to the manager. Rat bag, rat bag, rat bag. No refund, sir. That's the policy, sir. Too many complaints, sir. Don't be crazy now. This is how it is, sir. Ban me? They tried that. We got the manager around the neck. We got the manufacturer around the neck. We're taking over the world. Watch out. We're here for good. You can crush us tight all you want, but we'll spring back. Rat bag, rat bag, rat bag. I got a choice. Don't plastic explain to me. 1 million a minute, waiting news in. 2 million a minute, sinking into the depths of the ocean. Sinking into the depths of the ocean. Turf a trillion a year as they suffocate into the surf. Creeping plastic bags. Rat baggery, no more. They move and twitch for use. Put a lid on it. I'm trying to write a poem. I don't want you in my house. I can do one thing. I can do one thing. I can do one thing. Not bring them in. I have finished with this rat baggery business.
Hi. Katie Lohner here. Eat some cheese in isolation. Thanks to Lish and Colin for having me. I'm doing Respect today without Jankovic. Hope you enjoy. We all need more joy in our lives. You can't have too much joy. No, of course not. Enjoy the joy and yeah, enjoy. Way back when I was just a little bitty boy living in a box under the stairs in the corner of the basement of the house, half a block down the street from Jerry's bait shop. You know the place. Well, anyway, life was going swell and everything was just peachy, except for the undeniable fact every single morning my mum will make me a big old bowl of sauerkraut for breakfast. Oh, big bowl of sauerkraut. Every single morning it was driving me crazy. I said, Mum, what's up with all that sauerkraut? My dear sweet mother, she just looked at me like a cow looks at an oncoming train. And she leans down right next to me. And she says, it's good for you! And then she tied me in the wall, stuck a hot bowl full in my mouth and forced me nothing but sauerkraut till I was 26 and a half years old. That's when I swore someday I'll get out of that basement and travel to a magical faraway place where the sun is always shining and the air smells like warm root beer. And the towels are all so fluffy. And the Shriners and the Leopards play their ukuleles all day long. And anyone on the street will gladly shave your back for a nickel. Waka waka doo-doo, yeah. Well, it wasn't long until my dream came true. Because the very next day, a local radio station had a contest to see if you can correctly number the amount of molecules on Leonard Nimoy's butt. I was off by 3, but I still won the grand prize. A first-class one-way ticket to Albuquerque. Oh yeah, Albuquerque. You know, I've never been on a real aeroplane before, but I gotta tell you, it's really great. Except for I had to sit between 2 large Albanian women with excruciating body odour, and a little kid behind me kept throwing up all the time. The flight attendant ran out of Dr. Pepper and salted peanuts, and the in-flight movie was Biodome with Paulie Shaw. And oh yeah, 3 of the airplane engines burnt out. We went into a tailspin and crashed into a hillside, and the plane exploded into a massive fireball. No, a giant fireball, and everyone died. Except for me. You know why? 'Cause I had a tree table up, and the seat and I always get these right. I had my tray table up, and my seat back in the full upright position. And my tray table up, and my seat back folded back in the upright position. Oh yeah. While I crawled from the twisted, burning wreckage, I crawled on my hands and knees for 3 full days. carrying my big leather suitcase and my garment bag and my tenor saxophone and my 12-inch bowling ball and my lucky glow-in-the-dark snorkel. It finally arrived at the world-famous Albuquerque Holiday Inn, where the towels are also fluffy and you can eat soup at the ashtrays if you wanna. It's okay, they're clean. Well, I checked into my room and I turned on the AC and I turned on the Spectrovision and I just about to eat that little chocolate on my pillow that I love so very, very much. But then I heard a knock at the door. Who is it? They're not saying anything. Who is it? Who is it? They're not answering. Well, so I finally go over and I open the door. And just as I suspected, a big fat man with a flock of seagulls haircut and only one nostril. I hate it when I'm right. So anyway, he bursts into the room and he grabs my lucky snorkel and I said, hey, that snorkel's just been like a snorkel to me. And I'm like, give it. He's like, make me. And I'm like, okay. So I grabbed his leg and he grabbed my esophagus and I bit off his ear and he chewed off my eyebrow and I took out his appendix and he gave me a colonic irrigation. Yeah, you better believe it. And somewhere in the middle of all that, the phone got knocked off the hook. And 20 seconds later, I heard a familiar voice. And it said, if you'd like to make a call, please hang up and try again. If you need help, hang up and then dial operator. If you'd like to make a call, please hang up and try again. If you need help, hang up and then dial operator. In Albuquerque. Well, to cut a long story short, he got away with my snorkel, but I made a solemn vow then and there that I would not rest, I would not sleep for an instant until the one-nostriled man was brought to justice. But first, I decided to get some donuts. So I got in my car and I drove over to the donut shop and I walked up to the man behind the counter and he said, yeah, what do you want? And I said, you got any glazed donuts? He said, no, we're out of glazed donuts. I said, you got any jelly donuts? He said, no, we're out of jelly donuts. I said, you got any Bavarian cream-filled donuts? He said, no, we're out of Bavarian cream-filled donuts. I said, you got any cinnamon rolls? He said, no, we're out of cinnamon rolls. I said, you got any apple fritters? He said, no, apple fritters. I said, you got any bear claws? He said, wait a minute, I'll go check. We're out of bear claws! I said, in that case, what do you have? He said, all I got right now is this one box of starved crazed weasels. I said, okay, I'll take that. So he handed me the box and I opened the lid and the weasels started jumping out and immediately started latching on my face and biting me all over. Oh man, they're going nuts. They were tearing me apart. You know, I think it was just about then, that time, another little ditty started going around my head. I believe when something like this. Ah, get him off me, get him off me! Ah, get him off me, get him off, get him off. Ah, I better not wake the neighbours. So I ran in the street and the flesh-eating wheels all over my face and my arms are running and running like a constipated wiener dog. And yeah, luck would have it, that's when I ran into the girl of my dreams. Her name was Zelda. She was a calligraphy enthusiast with a slight overbite and a hair colour of strange peaches. I'll never forget the first thing she said to me. She said, you got weasels all over your face. That's when I knew it was true love. We're all inseparable after that. We ate together, we bathed together. We even shared the same piece of mint-flavoured dental floss. The world was our burrito. So we got married and we bought a house and we had 2 beautiful children, Nathaniel and Superfly. And we were so very, very happy. But one fateful night, Zelda said to me, sweetie, Sugar Pumpkin, Tater Tots, do you want to join the Columbia Record Club? And I said, whoa, hold on now then. I'm not just ready for that kind of commitment. And we broke up and I never saw her again. But that's just the way things go. In Albuquerque. Albuquerque. Anyway, things started to look up for me because about a week later I achieved my lifelong dream. I got a part-time job at the Sizzler. Yeah! I even made it to Employee of the Month. After that, I put a grease fire out my face. Oh yeah, everyone was jealous of me after that. I was getting a lot of attitude. And one time I was in the parking lot just trying to remove my excess earwax with a gold pencil when I see a guy, Marty, trying to carry a big sofa up the stairs. So I said to him, hey Marty, do I help with that? And Marty just rolled his eyes and he said, no, I wanted to cut my arms and legs off with a chainsaw. So I did. And then he got all indignant on me. He said, hey man, I was just being sarcastic. Well, how was I meant to know? Great. How was I supposed to know that? It's not a mind reader for crying out loud. Besides, now he's got a cute name, Torso Boy. So what's he complaining about? So that reminds me of another antidote. Got time for another antidote? Oh, yeah, okay. Antidote. Oh, take this. Yes. Well, this guy comes up to me on the street and tells me he hasn't had a bite in 3 days. Well, I knew what he meant, but just to be funny, I took a big bite out of his jugular vein and he was yelling and screaming and bleeding all over. And I'm like, hey man, come on, don't you get it? But he keeps rolling around and screaming inside while bleeding and screaming. You know, just completely missing the whole irony of the situation. Man, some people can't take a joke. Anyway, kind of lost my train of thought. That bit in the donuts and anyway, it's a bit of a roundabout way of saying, but I hate sauerkraut. That's all I'm really trying to say. And there's a bit of a monologue here, and it's very relevant. Oh man. Anyway, yeah. One day you'll happen to wake up and find yourself, yeah, I hate sauerkraut, you know. So tiring. All that sauerkraut. Oh, sauerkraut. All I'm really trying to say is one day when you happen to wake up and find yourself in an existential quandrum full of loathing and self-doubt and racked with the pain of isolation and pitiful, meaningless existence, at least you can take a bit of comfort in knowing that somewhere out there in this crazy, mixed up universe, there's still a place called Albuquerque. Albuquerque, 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 Albuquerque. I said A-B-U. Albuquerque, 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 Albuquerque.
Whoa, that Weird Al set from Katie, that was like weird, but good weird. Okay, thank you very much, Katie, and thank you, Al, for being Al, Weird Al, and on with the show.
An almost true story. I didn't get it at all. Which one was the mathematician? Was the tiger a metaphor? And why the boat? It's true, I can find stories confusing at the best of times, but I didn't get Life of Pi. No, not at all. Hi, I'm Dave, and thanks for the chance to be here on this open mic. I've got two more short poems for you today. This next one, in the beginning, it helps if you know that there's these ancient bones have got marks etched into them, like thousands and thousands of years old, and they're some of the earliest evidence that humans learnt to count. The first mathematician couldn't count. That subtle art lies in the future. Marks scratched on bones match the moon's dance from a time before numbers had names. Maths chapters were null sets, just like numbers themselves, countable unions of nothing. And this last one. I saw a butterfly dancing, or art is enough in a fractal world. Here we go. As I soaked in Archimedes' bath, I watched a butterfly flap its fragile wings, stirring air onto a path to who knows where. The butterfly didn't care where its tiny dance went. The art of that moment enough as it wafted steam from my bath, outwards to join other eddies unmeasured, unmindful of consequence. Thank you.
And now some brief messages from our sponsors. Bothered by Hercules, stranger? Take Hercules. Keep those pesky Hercules at bay, stranger, with Hercules. Stranger, ranger, danger? Indeed, you need Hercules. We still haven't caught the beast. Should have taken the Hercules.
Hi, thank you, Colin and Lish. Thanks again. I'm doing two old poems today, but they are really for everyone who's stuck in Melbourne. These are poems I've written about history and Melbourne, so it felt appropriate to do these. The first one is about the tunnelling that they've been doing in the city. It's called Franklin Street Tunnel Works. They are digging again. Beneath our feet, behind barriers daubed with exposition, they ply their irresistible jackhammers, hacking through blue stone pavers, busting up tarmac, scattering the dust of old bricks. Torn sinews of steel jag the rubble, frayed, raw, no longer reinforcing. Gutter pipes are violated. They spew their coarse sample of the city's sediment. Oil and sweat and shit, the dregs of settlement. Deeper still, a further strata, where once sunlight filtered through green, compressed tilth of bones and leaf litter, the ghostly residual of bird noise, spore, and the scratching of small claws. And the next one is about set in 1910, which is when Houdini came to visit Melbourne. And I love the story of this. He came actually so that he could compete to be the first person ever to fly in Australia. He shipped a fabulous old plane from France, and he did actually get off the ground up at Diggers Rest. At exactly the same time as someone else was doing that down in South Australia, so it was always a bit controversial. But there's some lovely old black and white footage of him in his plane. This one is called Houdini on the Bridge. So while he was here, he also did a bit of a show as well, and this was his way of promoting that, to go down to Queen's Bridge and do a stunt down there. So Houdini on the Bridge, 1910. Is it completely dark down there, sunk in the Yarra in chains? Are you too busy wriggling with the river in your eyes to see the switch of an eel's tail? The debris from this city's infancy? Rusted horseshoe, the nub of an axle, torn hessian or a swan's small skull? Hold your breath, showman. Beneath Queen's Bridge, a slack-eyed corpse bobs like cork to break the water's skin above you. A woman points and squeals, lads jostle at the railings, mothers sweep up infants. An undertaker in the crowd presents his card. You kick. Out of that black churning water you rise, unbound. Thank you and stay safe.
Hi, I'm Anne, and I'm going to read a poem by Lin-Manuel Miranda that he wrote about one of the early statesmen in American history, a founding father, in fact. This man was born illegitimately in the West Indies. He was biracial and bisexual, and he had a very hard early life. He immigrated on his own at age 19 to New York in the early 1700s. And he served with George Washington in the American Revolution. He became a lawyer. He became part of the first U.S. government. And in fact, he set up the U.S. Treasury system. He also founded the U.S. Coast Guard. And he founded the New York Post newspaper. And, well, a million other things. So, how does a bastard, orphan, son of a whore and a Scotsman, dropped in the middle of a forgotten spot in the Caribbean by Providence, impoverished in squalor, grew up to be a hero and a scholar? The $10 founding father without a father got a lot farther by being a lot smarter, by working a lot harder, by being a self-starter. At 14, they placed him in charge of a trading charter. And every day, while slaves were being slaughtered and carted away across the waves, he struggled and kept his guard up. Inside, he was longing for something to be a part of. The brother was ready to beg, steal, borrow, or barter. But then a hurricane came, and devastation reigned. Our man saw his future dripping down the drain. Then he put a pencil to his temple, and it connected to his brain, and he wrote his first refrain, a testament to his pain. And the word got around. They said, "This kid's insane, man." Took up a collection just to send him to the mainland. Said, "Get your education and don't forget from whence you came. The world's going to know your name." "What's your name, man?" "Alexander Hamilton. My name is Alexander Hamilton. And there's a million things I haven't done. Just you wait." Now, when he was 10, his father'd split, full of it, debt-ridden. 2 years later, saw Alex and his mother bedridden, half dead, sitting in their own sick, the scent thick. And Alex got better, but his mother went quick. He moved in with a cousin. The cousin committed suicide, left him with nothing but ruin pride and something new inside, a voice saying, "Alex, you gotta fend for yourself." He started retreating and reading every treatise on the shelf. There would have been nothing left to do for someone less astute. He would have been dead or destitute without a cent of restitution. He started working, clerking for his late mother's landlord, trading sugar cane and rum and all the things he can't afford, scamming for every book he can get his hands on, planning for the future. See him now as he stands on the bow of a ship headed for the new land. In New York, you can be a new man. In New York, you can be a new man. Just you wait. Alexander Hamilton. We are waiting in the wings for you. You could never back down. You never learned to take your time. Oh, Alexander Hamilton, when America sings for you, will they know what you overcame? Will they know you rewrote your game? The world will never be the same. Oh, the ship is in the harbor now. See if you can spot him. Another immigrant coming up from the bottom. His enemies destroyed his rep. America forgot him. But some fought with him. Some died for him. Some trusted him. Some loved him. And one was the damn fool who shot him. There's a million things he hadn't done. Alexander Hamilton. Thank you.
Hi Lish, hi Colin, thank you for having me on Poetryspective once again. This is called Your Permitted Worker Permit Worker is Not Permitted. Are you a permitted worker? Is your work permitted? If you have a permitted worker permit, then you will be permitted to work. If you are permitted to work but do not have the permitted permit, you will not be permitted to work. If you are permitted to work but have an unpermitted permit doing the work as a permitted permit, you will not be permitted to work. It follows that all permitted worker permits must be permitted by the permitted division of the Permitted Worker Permit Office. There the workers permitted worker permits and unpermitted permitted worker permits, and on rare occasions permit unpermitted permitted worker permits as permissible permitted worker permits. Any inquiry into how they permitted worker permits will not be permitted. They are permitted worker permit permitters by the permission of the permitted permit permitters subdivision of the permitted permits division of the Permits Office. If you are not permitted to work but have a permitted worker permit, you will not be permitted to work, but you will be permitted to work. This could not be clearer. The permitted permittance of the non-permitted with a permit will thus simultaneously be permitted and non-permitted, creating a loop in the time-space logic continuum and destroying the universe. This has previously been permitted. Please have your permits available for presenting to a police officer upon request. Thank you very much.
Much has been said, thought, and written about tonight's next feature, Yvette Stubbs, by herself and other people. But rather than repeating some of those words, we'll just let Yvette's poetry speak for itself. Indeed. Now, sit back, relax, refresh your beverage, and enjoy Yvette Stubbs. Here we go.
Hey everyone, hello. It's great to see you all. I'm a bit of a novice here, holding this phone and figuring out how to video, but we'll see how we go. And nice to connect with you, nice to see you. Well, for you to see me and know I'm still alive and kicking. And these are poems I've written recently, probably through Eclectic Creators Unite, using themes from there each week. Here we go. Roosters crow, birds roost, their red ochre feathers fluttering amongst black mother of pearl, strutting in the glistening autumn sun. No more fruit on the trees, now the fragrant feijoas have ended. Seasons change, sheep scoff acorns, leaves clutter spouts, water dribbles down leaking walls, paintings get painted in spurts between bouts of inactivity and wood collection. I have sworn off caffeine, socialising and milk. TV flickers as a background to our lives. I make meals of leftovers, forego real meals frequently. Game shows are my friends. I am sick of socialising on Zoom. I have a phobia using the telephone. This world is no oyster. Then I fluff about on Facebook, wasting copious hours I have no use for, absently patting Larry Cat gently down his spine as he lay sprawled, oblivious to the complex thoughts I harbour in my head. For this is nature. The gentle beasts I nurture are at one with this world. Oh, I wish I was as one with them. And I do excuse the mistakes I make. I hatched some, well, I got some fertilised eggs to put under a broody chook, and she hatched 4 roosters for me. And so that poem was a bit about the roosters and a bit about the chooks that I've been growing up, which are all grown up laying eggs now. There you go. All right. Okay, this is the artist poem. It's definitely related to me when I'm doing art. And here we go. You could tell she was an artist by her aquamarine stained trousers, her torn t-shirt paint cloths, her stained glass mirrors, her lamps dangling from the ceiling on pantyhose. Her family hid the boiling water, made cuppers for her, led her. She could not be trusted in those cerebral Brett Whiteley moments. She hovered on another level, glazed irises, blinkered focus. She would arise eventually, greet the moment with wonder, see others in real time soon. This was the price all knew of her creation, the artistic, autistic view. This was her fix, her hit, her fit. An addiction needing fuel. When the fire burnt out, she would start anew. And some of you might know I've got 2 exhibitions happening at the moment, both in lockdown. I'm not wanting to be that creative right now. Here's 2 shadow poems for you. They're both blissfully short. Let me think. Yeah, so I think, I'm not sure. They might be all prompts. All prompts that they're on Eclectic Creators Unite. I do all prompts poems, and a lot of us do that. So we've got to put every prompt that I put into the prompts for that week into one poem. And here they are. There are shadows in my sunshine. TV flickers, black coffee on the freedom of my remote. Miles of cake line the benches. I don't care, because I don't care for any more cake. I only want sunshine in my shadows. Don't we all want sunshine in our shadows? There's a lot of shadows going around these days. And here's another one. Luckily there is poetry in shadows. But no woman is an island. She sees beneath the smoke screen of man. She wonders when he'll heed the planet's alarm. Then Jacinda, the horrors he created. There is poetry in shadows. Luckily. Keep your poetry going, guys. We feel our way subliminally. The finger on a wine glass. The choice of phrase. A slow thread massaged drippingly from lips fraught with unborn rage. We bite and we are bitten. Wear no shame. Don no shroud to mask our pains. Step into the light. And it is broken. She's always up for it, you know. Despite the driving rain and snow, I hear she's up till late at night, trying hard to get it right. She ties his hands, she masks his face, she makes him dress all in lace. She beats the drum, he dances round, he doesn't make a single sound. His dominatrix orders him to lick her toes to punish him. Lick them clean until they shine, then bring her cheese and mulled red wine. They've lost contact with reality. Their family thinks they are obscene. They don't much care for truth or dare or nosy neighbours' icy glare. They live a happy ISO life, cloistered in their little dive. It's a wonder they are still alive. Now I've got a couple of duck poems here for you. Let's hope that makes sense. These are all new poems, by the way, because, you know, where can you read them, for heaven's sakes? I thought I'd placed all my ducks in a row, large to small, tail to nose, burnt as the orange-blue sea, hobbling on my spindly tree knees, hair dry full blast on their feather duster hair. My children wearing nothing but Rambo tulle tutus, who'd strewn wet washing on our oh so dirty carpet. Those little cherubs. All of us acrostic in our isolation. You will see the thing about isolation is you become quite acrostic. Here we go. My second duck poem. I had all my ducks in a row, but life kept knocking them over. Soon it was too hard to fix the fallen. Just left them lying there. Okay, this poem is directly related to a photo that was posted, and I've written towards that, but it's also about the 3,000 who were locked away. It was quite upsetting for me. Behind glass, faceless in a throng of thousands, nobody knows when they'll be set free. Do you see their sadness? Young boys, young girls, cooped in concrete boxes, openless windows, stale recycled air, locked inside a sanitised prison. No veranda, no fresh air, no green. My world is open compared to theirs. Big thank you to Lish Skec for running this gig and asking me to be part of it. Thank you, Lish. And thank you, Colin Clark, for your video expertise. You're a wonderful team, you two. Keep it coming. We're enjoying it a lot. Okay, bye.
You know, this angle kind of reminds me of Ask a Ninja. Whew. By the way, thank you very much, Yvette, for that fine selection of poetry. Right up now, we'll have some open section, I believe. And check out this.
Multiple dimensions formulate the shape of a cube just as multiple dimensions formulate me. This is my one-sided story. When I was a struggling high school kid, mean girls used to call me square, assuming it a flat, two-dimensional insult. But I knew it was the basis on which I could build a pyramid or a cube or whatever wonder took my mood. On the surface, I flash smile at passers-by, showing them only the angle I want them to see. People who know me well see my other sides, loving every corner of who I am. Others kiss my cheek with their tongue in their own cheek, spreading gossip, ignorant of the fact that they are two-faced. Multiple dimensions formulate the shape of a cube, just as multiple dimensions formulate me. So here I am saying I have more than one face, making me two-faced too. I'm not too ashamed, cheeks inflamed, to say it. Every person needs more than two sides to have any fun when rolling life's dice. And while socially, 3 is company, it's far better to have a fourth wall. Hey, you! I'm not alone in thinking this. Am I? Multiple dimensions formulate the shape of a cube. How many dimensions formulate you? Only I can be held responsible for the shape my life takes, moving 54 pieces in combination through 43.2 quintillion variations of a Rubik's Cube, making moves in the right order to create harmony amidst chaotic disorder. For a while you helped me build a fifth side, adding bricks of confidence cemented with superficial friends, paying social dividends. An architecturally flawed structure built on that solid square basis of my solitary childhood. You framed the future as sturdy enough to keep a roof over my head, allowing me to call your house our home. Until I realized I had a sixth sense, a waterproof silver lining inside the roof, keeping me dry from the storm of lies, muting the sound of incomprehensible cries. Brimming with enough instinct to know the only love I ever saw, smelled, taste, heard and could touch meant nothing if sixth sense curdled my gut. From the certainty of knowing, you'd put a roof above another's head and flexed your muscles inside their bed. And I hadn't misread the diabolically dire situation. You were convinced my cube would cave in when I made the move to demolish every brick you ever laid atop my foundation, collapsing our roof to ground zero. But I'm still here with 43.199 quintillion new moves to make. And now I've removed the toxic side of my life that was you. I've discovered it's easier to think outside a box with no ceiling, looking at blue sky. Multiple dimensions formulate the shape of a cube just as multiple dimensions formulate me. This is my one-sided story. I'm not asking you to take sides.
Good evening, everyone. You join me on a very cold and rainy afternoon, Saturday afternoon in the bush. You can probably see the rain outside. My name's Colin Clark. I put together this Poetryspective video show every couple of weeks. Hope you're enjoying it so far. What I've found this week is quite extraordinary. I've been digging back through my family archives with my mum back in the UK. And it turns out that I've got a poet in the family I absolutely never knew about. And amazingly, there's some really old scratchy footage. So I thought for a bit of a change, I would share with you some of the musings of my. I think it's my great grandfather, Sir Robinson Clark. Do enjoy. Good evening and welcome to Poetryspective. My name is Sir Robinson Clark, and we are here this evening to bring poetry and culture to the little people, to the proletariat, the great unwashed, the hoi polloi, if you will. Poetry has a great tradition within my family. My great-great-grandfather was a poet. My great-grandfather was a poet. My grandfather, we don't talk about him. My father, he thought he was a poet. But I come from a long line of poets, as you can see. So, without further ado, let us proceed with our motion picture presentation. This is a poem written by my good self called Single Ladies. All the pretty maidens, all the pretty maidens, all the wealthy widows, all the wealthy widows, all the frustrated spinsters, all the frustrated spinsters, all the debutantes, all the debutantes. Now, put your hands up in my club. Recently, became single myself. I'm just doing my own thing. You decided to leave me. But now, you desire my return. Because another lady had her eye on me. I find her rather appealing. Seems she reciprocates. I am playing it nonchalantly. I admit I shed a tear. We courted for 3 years. But you're not entitled to be angry, because if you were fond of it, then you should have let it put a ring on you. If you found it eligible and desirable, you should have let it put a ring on you. Don't be angry when you see another interested in it, because if you were fond of it, then you really should have let it put a ring on you. Ooh, ooh, ah. Ooh, 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 ooh. And wasn't that wonderful? And welcome back to Poetryspective. This is a poem written by my good self, entitled Unrequited. Your voluptuous gusset bedazzles my memory of fruitless days, of haystacks and fishing for sticklebacks. the way your fulsome chest heaveth on account of my breathless adoration and your asthma. Might I compare thee to a moist Victoria sponge cake with whipped cream and a stiff cup of tea, 1 sugar. I long for you with the ferocity of a rabid badger on an uncomfortably warm summer's evening. The smell of honeysuckle and manure wafting across my fetid brow, a wistful stirring in my nether regions. You are many days distant, and my sulky is missing a wheel. My pony listless and apathetic. I miss your sweet eyes, as deep and soulful as a favourite dun cow. I miss your sweet thighs and your only slightly warty skin. But our love can never be, for your father is a bit of a git, and after the unfortunate incident with his butler and the squirrel, I fear we will forever be lovelorn, alone, distanced. My death mask is all I have to look forward to, my darling. Farewell, my sweet love, for without you I must leave this world forever, forever, forever. I thought that went rather well, darling. That should keep the plebs happy.
Hi everyone, good to be with you. My name is Matthew O'Keefe. I'm the manager at Pride of Our Footscray Bar. I'm going to read for you a piece called Calm Down, It's Okay, We Can Vote Them Out in 3 years. I hope you enjoy it. Thanks. Dal, I'm so upset. We're in the middle of a pandemic and the government still isn't helping my colleagues who are here from overseas. Calm down, it's okay. Surely that can't be right. But honestly, it is right, and it means my white colleagues are getting assistance, but my brown colleagues are not. Calm down, it's okay. We can vote them out in 3 years. But Dale, it's unfair. Whilst they abandon the people, they're lining their own pockets. Calm down, it's okay. Most of them are trying to do the right thing. But honestly, the government just gave a company founded by one of its ministers millions of dollars for nothing, and it ended up in the Cayman Islands. Calm down, it's okay. We can vote them out in 3 years. But Dale, it's not the only example. They literally sabotaged our national broadband network for a mate of theirs who owned a cable TV station. Calm down, it's okay. Surely the papers would report on this sort of thing. But honestly, they won't. The guy with the cable TV company owns the damn papers as well. And they just gave the cable company another $10 million after giving it $30 million 2 years ago. Calm down, it's okay. We can vote them out in 3 years. But Dale, there's other things too. Urgent things, like trying to get through this pandemic. Calm down, it's okay. Surely the government's working well with the states to help us through that. But honestly, they're not. They tried to force the states to open borders and even had the press undermine one of the state leaders. Calm down, it's okay. We can vote them out in 3 years. But Dale, I don't even know if I'll last another 3 years. Did you hear they were using computers to demand money from welfare recipients? Calm down, it's okay. I'm sure the computers were pretty accurate anyway. But honestly, they weren't. There wasn't any oversight and the computers were often way out, so people with little money got letters from the government demanding a lot of money. Can you imagine that stress? Calm down, it's okay. We can vote them out in 3 years. But Dale, they're not caring for our most vulnerable. Look what's happened in our aged care facilities during the pandemic. Calm down, it's okay. They know there's problems now, and surely they're taking responsibility for that. But honestly, Dale, they're not. They say they regulate aged care, but when it's a pandemic, it's somebody else's problem. Calm down, it's okay. We can vote them out in 3 years. But Dale, while all this malfeasance manifests, they demand complete obedience from the citizens. Calm down, it's okay. There's probably a corruption commission that keeps an eye on them too. But Dale, there's not. They won't vote a federal commission into corruption into existence. Calm down, it's okay. We can vote them out in 3 years. 3 years later. Dale, they voted in the same mob. Calm down, it's okay. We can vote them out in 3 years. Thank you very much.
Yes, as Lunar Cycle tells us, and the predators look over our shoulder, we say thank you to you and you and you and you and you and you and you, and especially to our participants tonight in Poetryspective Online number 63. We had Yvette Stubbs, Katie Lohner, Sean O'Callaghan, Angela Costi, Komninos Zervos, Anne Byrne, Tim Train, Kelly Van Nelson, and Colin Clark. Thank you all for participating. Thank you all out there for watching, and keep on watching, and keep on writing, and keep on videoing, and keep on poeting, and keep on lunering, and just keep on. We will keep on. Right on. Good night, folks.